Sam Coffey will do the honors for the Case Spartans. And she mentioned that this win streak has happened since she's been here. So that is good news for Case. And here comes Washington University, and they cross the 25-yard line, and that's where they will start their first possession of the second half.
Well, first half-wise for Case Western, the defense really kept them in the game, Ron. It's 14-2, and offensively, WashU really has not been able to do a whole lot. They only have 124 yards total in the football game. That's 29 offensive plays for WashU. They have 79 yards on the ground and just 45 yards passing on 12 attempts. So Case holding the Washington University team to a little less than 4 yards per attempt. That's a great average for the Case defense.
Coach Debelak called the first half a struggle for his football team. Mentioned that Washington University is a very talented football team, and you need to play well against these guys, and they will certainly have to do that here in the second half as Wash opens up their first possession of the second half with a 3-yard gain.
Now, last year in St. Louis, Case won the football game against WashU 17-0, Ron, but it was really much, I don't want to say it was closer than that, but it was very similar to the first half flow that we've seen today. It was just back and forth and an occasional touchdown here or there. And a couple of years ago, Dan Whalen had a very bad day in St. Louis.
Glenn, the running back who had an outstanding first half for the Bears, carries the football, gets it up to the 30.
Glenn had 51 yards around in the first half. He did have 42, though, on that big play that set up an opportunity for WashU. The Case defense held eventually inside the 5, but WashU's been in the red zone twice today, haven't scored.
Easton Knott checks in, ran into your picture there for Washington University. A wide out, he'll split out wide to the left. It's 3rd and 5 for the Bears. Sherman will stay in the shotgun, a place he has been most of the afternoon. Opening possession, here comes Case with pressure. Sherman steps up, avoids it for the time being, and throws it and almost picked off at the 40-yard line. Coming across and making a nice play that time for Case. Almost making a defensive interception with Zach Haas.
Haas really just laid out, but give the pressure to the front 7. They blitz 2 linebackers, Sasala and Brown, force Sherman out to his right. He tried to hit his receiver on the far sideline, and out of nowhere, great coverage speed as Zach Haas knocked the ball away, the free safety. The junior for Haas has 1 interception on the season, almost had his second.
As you can tell, it is an absolutely sun-splashed day here in northeastern Ohio. Game time temperature was in the mid-60s. And it's November what?
November 14th.
As a matter of fact, the sun is shining so brightly right now that Sean Nicely, who's set to receive for Case at the 34, has a hand up in his face to try to block the sun. Nicely will receive it at the 33, and that's where Case will start their opening possession of the second half.
Well, Nicely didn't try to do too much on that run. It was just a matter of let's catch the football and get the offense on the field. Corralled it sliding down at the 33-yard line.
Yeah, didn't have much choice, did he? So Whalen comes out to set the offense for Case. Dan Whalen in the first half for the Spartans was 13 of 18 with 2 interceptions and 158 yards passing in that opening half. Derek Bush with the carry for Case, crosses the 35, run out of bounds at the 36.
Whalen did have those 2 interceptions. One most likely was his fault. He tried to throw the ball to the outside and was just late getting there. The second one was a tip ball that the defense for WashU managed to catch and stay in bounds. And Case had a section there, Ron, of about 15 or 18 minutes of clock time where offensively they just couldn't put anything together.
Corey Checkin, the lone back in the backfield for Case, just off the left hip of Whalen. Corey will get the handoff. Corey with a nice move at the 40. Positive yards up to the 47-yard line.
Really put his shoulder down and ran over Bryce Buchanan out near the 44-yard line. Picked up an extra couple of yards as Buchanan tried to go one-on-one with him. And Checkin just mowed him over.
Checkin got 10 yards on that carry. 1st and 10 for Case, now approaching midfield. Handoff again to Corey Chekin. Huge hole on that left side for Case. That left offensive line for the Spartans. Marcus Kluzinski, the 6'4", 240-pound junior at left tackle. Tony Opperman, the left guard, 6'2", 240. He's a sophomore. And then Michael Allen, who anchors it from his center spot. Kluzinski's 74, Opperman 79.
If you look at the years on these offensive linemen, Ron, no seniors on the offensive front, so all 5 of them will be back next season.
3 juniors, 2 sophomores. Chekin again. They run it left again. Chekin breaks a tackle at the 45, tries to spin out of it, and he's tackled right there. So Corey Chekin has become the workhorse here in the second half, the 5'8", 200-pound senior out of Georgetown, Pennsylvania. Chekin went to high school at Southside Area High School.
Well, now 3rd and short, Ron. Now we'll get to see that jumbo package for Case. They bring in the 2 tight ends, and they go to that tight T formation with Chekin in the middle of 3 backs.
Meyer, Chekin, and Bush are the backs in the backfield. Handoff goes to Chekin. Corey bulls his way forward. Off right guard, ran right up behind Matt Yanasco that time. Needed a yard, he got that and more.
And that's a virtually impossible play to stop from Case when they need a yard, yard and a half, and they just let Chekin take his carry behind a big offensive line and push his way forward for 3, 4, 5 yards.
Chekin, one of the 15 seniors honored here today at Case on Senior Day. Whalen will give it to Chekin again, and if it's not broke, why fix it? Keep giving it to your guy. Chekin goes from the 43 down to the 35. He picks up 8. You know, in his career here at Case, Corey Chekin has rushed for over 1,000 yards, 1,096. And for a guy who's a definite possession-type back, a guy who you just want to get 2 and 3 yards grinded out, over 1,000 yards in his career, that's pretty good. That's a lot of grinding.
And I would guess that most of it's been between the tackles.
And it is again. Chekin needed 3 to get a first down. He picks up 6, and they move the chains again. Case is down to the 30 of Washington University.
Well, at this point, it's a little early for what we've seen in tight games with Case. They really began to wear teams out, especially Worcester and Chicago, in the 4th quarter. You're seeing it now maybe here in the 3rd quarter as they're just pounding that defensive front 7.
They'll fake to Chekin, throw underneath the coverage this time to Zach Holmick, left side. Zach's going to pick up some yards for the Case Spartans.
A little inside-out bubble screen to the wide receiver on the left side. Holmick again, he's got some personal records that he's approaching. Holmick had 4 catches in the first half. He now has 5 in the football game. That takes him to 58 on the season, and 70 is the school record.
Corey Chekin behind a huge hole. A nice block that time by Tony Opperman. Started left and kicked it back to the right.
That defensive front for WashU, they're in a traditional 4-3 set. Their defensive line averages 6'1", 226, and the offensive line for Case outmans them about 30 pounds per player.
Chekin will take a seat. He'll get a well-deserved rest. Back in the game now is Greg Meyer, and Meyer will get the handoff from Whalen. Meyer's got a hole, and Greg Meyer inside the 10-yard line.
Well, when Case gets into the red zone, Ron, they score, and they score in bunches for the season now. 56 trips. Well, this will be their 57th trip into the red zone, and they have 48 scores, 40 touchdowns, and 8 field goals. So once they get inside the 20, this offense is designed to put teams away.
Well, that's about an 86% clip. And if you're a head coach and you can score 86% of the time when you get in the red zone, that is exactly what you want. Whalen will roll right. Whalen in trouble, throws back across his body. A beautiful catch that time by DJ Sutka.
We mentioned it in the first half. Sutka's become much more a factor in the passing game this year as the release valve, and you saw it there, and the pass was behind him, but Sutka managed to reach behind him, haul it in one-handed, and pick up a couple of yards.
So Case is inside the 10. It's a 3rd and 1. Ball is at the 8. 3 backs in the backfield. And they will run the football. They'll run it with their big guy checking, and they'll push the pile near the 5-yard line.
That full house backfield comes in, and because the outside backs in that T formation have the ability to get around the corner, you can't overplay check-in and assume that he'll get the football, because when you start doing that, they'll give the ball to Bush or they'll give the ball to Meyer, and they'll simply skip around the outside and pick up big yardage.
Check-in, 5'8", 200 pounds. He's a load. He's got that horse collar on over his shoulder pads, and that makes him look even bigger. Case will hand it off again. They'll try the left side, and walking into the end zone for a touchdown is Derek Bush. Case has scored again.
Well, Bush picks up his first touchdown of the season, and we talked about that. If you overplay checking in that fullback or that full house backfield, they'll just give it to the outside back and let him run a sweep, and checking out front with the big block and pushes Derek Bush into the end zone.
So Bush with a 5-yard touchdown run to add to the 7-yard and 12-yard touchdown runs in the first half by Meyer. And Case has scored their 3rd touchdown of the afternoon. Coffey's in for the point after touchdown. The snap is back, the hold is down, and Coffey is a perfect 3 of 3 on the afternoon. 7 minutes, 55 seconds left to play, 3rd quarter, and Case has built a commanding 21-2 lead.
And back to it, that WashU offense really has been stymied all day. And the Case defense has done the yeoman's work. They've really held up that WashU offense and allowed the Case offense to get into sync, find a rhythm. And you saw that beginning develop with about 4 or 5 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter. And out here on their first possession, they just took it right down the field after the punt and went 67 yards right down the field, methodically just weighing on WashU, and have taken that 21-2 lead.
There's a good look at that Case bench area, and just to give you an example of what this senior class has done. In 2006, when they were freshmen, the Case football team was 5-5. They won 2 of their last 3 games, though. Dan Whalen started to come into his own that freshman season. He was switching time with Eli Grant. I think it was Eli Grant. Was it Eli Grant?
No, it was Angelo Mirando.
Mirando, that's right. And but Whalen definitely started to come into his own. Then the next season, 2007, they run the table in the regular season. They go 10-0. They go 2 deep into the Division III national playoffs. They beat Widener 21-20 in the opening round game in a fantastic, exciting game that everybody will remember. And then they lose to Wabash 38-23 in round 2. And then a year ago, in 2008, as juniors, the senior class goes 10-0 again, once again in the regular season, win their 2nd consecutive University Athletic Association championship, and then lose in the opening round of the Division III national tournament to Wabash again, 20-17.
Heartbreaker.
And that was a heartbreaker for sure. So on Sunday, tomorrow, at 3 o'clock, when ESPN News announces the Division III tournament bracket, if Wabash and Case are matched again, you can bet that the Spartans will be hungry for that matchup.
Well, that was a game that Case had come back in and taken a 17-14 lead with a little under a minute to play, and Wabash was 4th and 18 from their own 32-yard line and got 18 yards out near midfield, and then threw a Hail Mary bomb, and a receiver, Wes Chamblee, got behind the Case defense and hauled it in, and with under 30 seconds to play, had put Wabash back up on top, and Case's chance of advancing on were dashed.
So here's Washington University with some work to do, down 21-2. And they'll start with a guy who's had a pretty good afternoon for him. That's that little scat back at wide receiver, Tom Gaios.
And Gaios is out of Medina High School.
Gaios, a 5'8", 155-pound junior.
Gain of 9 on the play. 2nd and 1.
Leads the team with over 300 yards receiving. Leads the team with 3 touchdowns.
And a big 73-yard touchdown reception from Sherman earlier in the season.
O'Brien just looking for yards, going to get more than that. Washington University will get a first down out of it. If you look at common opponents this year, Washington University has played Worcester as well as Case. WashU lost 24-20 to Worcester. Case beat the Fighting Scots in Worcester on, I believe it was their first time playing under the lights down there, so obviously the atmosphere was electric.
Yeah, 4,500 fans packed that stadium. First ever night game in Worcester.
Case beat them 53-32. Brown showing blitz for Case. Sherman's going to roll out of it. Throw across the middle, ball is almost picked off by the Spartans.
Mike Peliak came back. He peeled off his underneath receiver, rolled back to the middle of the field, and Peliak knocked it away. Sherman rolled to his left, looking downfield, has to reset his shoulders. Weak throw over the middle, and here comes Peliak off his receiver and knocked the ball away.
Well, the beauty of that linebacking core for this Case defense, they have 5 of them back there. But the 2 outside ones, Paramore and Peliak, kind of roam around. Sometimes they'll line up as defensive ends. Sometimes they split out, almost look like a safety.
Right, they play that 3-3-5 in which the 2 backs and Paramore and Peliak can come up and become an extra set of linebackers. Very versatile defense.
So on 2nd and long, Washington University will get close to the first down as they cross the 40-yard line. And that is Jimmy O'Brien, their leading running back. You know, we talked in the pregame today, Ed, about number 1. O'Brien came into the game with 864 yards rushing, just a little bit shy of 1,000 on the season. And we certainly thought we would see a lot of him this afternoon, but we really haven't. I mean, that was his, well, we've seen him carry-wise. That was his 8th, but the Case defense has done a nice job. He has only 17 yards.
Oh, and then it started out that WashU really went away from him. He used him as a decoy in the first couple of series.
O'Brien again. It was 3rd and 1. He'll get 3. Coach Debelak with 5 minutes and 58 seconds left to play in this 3rd quarter. Obviously, this home crowd here at Case Field is here for a lot of reasons today. It's senior day, not only for the football team, but for the band members and for the cheerleaders and for the dance team. It's Case's shot at their 3rd consecutive University Athletic Association championship. There are banners that hang on the fence that surround the track here. Nice hit. Beautiful hit that time by Lisa Sala. Coming up and laying it on the Washington University Sam's Kentor. Ball falls incomplete, so you've got senior day. You've got a chance at 3 consecutive conference championships, and you've got a chance at winning your 31st consecutive regular season football game. And to have it on a beautiful afternoon like this, it couldn't have been planned more perfectly.
Well, and you talk to the coaches, and maybe of that group, the University Athletic Association championship probably ranks as the most important. They really feel that winning the UAA is team goal number 1.
LaShaw with the carry for Washington U. He needed 10, and he's going to get it as he's run out of bounds near that far side bench. Actually, he's a little short of the first down. He'll be about a yard short. Greg LaShaw, a senior out of Oneida, Florida, or Obito, Florida, rather.
Case has brought in an extra defensive lineman. Adam Watson, the freshman from Menor, is now in the football game. So Watson, Doolin, May, and English up front to try to shut down this 3rd and 1 by WashU.
O'Brien will carry it again, and he's going to get the first down plus a little more. We want to take this moment. We've been blessed today to have several guests during our game broadcast, and we've got another standing down near that Case bench on the near sideline here at Case Field. It's Dr. Randall Marcus. Dr. Marcus is the chair of the Department of Orthopedic Surgery at University Hospitals, and he's a professor at Case Western Reserve's Medical School. And Dr. Marcus has had a long history of involvement in sports medicine. Randy, first of all, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, Ron. Glad to be here.
Hey, could you tell us about your views, and it's in quotations here on my note briefly, what is sports medicine? Because I don't know if you've got a reputation to be long-winded, or I'm not sure why the marketing office put briefly, but Randy, go ahead.
Thanks, Ron. Sports medicine is the field of medicine that takes care of athletes, so people with athletic injuries, and it runs the gamut between orthopedic issues such as knees and ankle and foot injuries, but also things such as head injuries, concussions, endocrine problems, people with diabetes, people with asthmatic situations that want to participate in sports.
You know, Randy, one of the beauties of the location of Case is your relationship with University Hospital. Could you describe the outstanding sports medicine program on campus and that special relationship between UH's Department of Sports Medicine and the Case Athletic Department?
Sure. You know, we have been privileged for over 100 years to take care of the student athletes here at Case Western Reserve University. So as long as there's been athletics at Case and at Western Reserve, and now at Case Western Reserve, we've been privileged to have the opportunity to take care of these outstanding young men and women.
Well, you talked, Randy, about not only the taking care of the players, but you have a synergy with the coaches and the trainers as well. The doctors interact. Describe how that whole program works, not only with the players, but the interaction between the trainers and the coaches.
Ron, it's continuity of care. And our sports medicine specialists that are here on the sidelines, Dr. Shauna Miskowski, Dr. Sue Briskin, and many others, work hand in hand with the trainers, with the student trainers, the professional trainers here at the university. So when athletes are injured or feeling sick, after practice, after games, before games, they're working together, they're communicating, and gives us the best opportunity to take care of these athletes.
We are talking with Dr. Randy Marcus, the chair of the Department of Orthopedic Surgery at University Hospitals and also a professor here at Case in the medical school. Randy, how's this outstanding program that we're talking about benefit the student athletes here at Case?
Well, it provides outstanding care for them. We're just delighted that so many students here at Case Western participate in the various sports programs, not only the intercollegiate programs, but the intramural programs. And it's our responsibility to keep them healthy and keep them playing.
Washington University with the football and some work to do as we're approaching the 3-minute mark here in the third quarter. Randy, if you can hold on for a second, we've got one more question we want to ask you. Is that outstanding Case defense steps up again and makes another big hit. It's Jeff Brown. Brown, the middle linebacker, the senior on senior day out of North Olmsted High School. Randy, what's been the greatest advancement in your mind in sports medicine in recent years, and how has that advancement benefited what you could call the Monday morning quarterbacks and the greater community overall?
Well, the taking care of athletes, whether they're injured here on the football field or injured on playing tennis at a public tennis court, doesn't matter. The advances pay off for all of us. Probably the biggest advance has been the use of minimally invasive surgery for treatment of shoulder problems as well as treatment of knee problems and now hip problems, so that what used to be a week in the hospital with an open incision and taking out a torn meniscus in a knee, we now can do that as an outpatient through little pinhole incisions. And I think that has revolutionized the way we can take care of athletic injuries.
Randy, we'd like to thank you for joining us on the sideline near that Case bench. One more question. What do you think about this football team and what they've done in the last 3 years?
I am very proud of them. I'm proud to be a faculty member here, and these outstanding student athletes really deserve all the accolades that we've heard today. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Dr. Randall Marcus, the chair of the Department of Orthopedic Surgery at University Hospitals and a professor at the Case Western Reserve Medical School. So it's 21-2, and Case firmly in command on their way to their 10th straight win this football season and 31st regular season win in a row.
Just had some offsetting penalties, Ron. A holding call against WashU in the backfield, and then a personal foul against Case in retaliation for the hold. It offset, and now WashU will have another chance at second down.
There's their favorite play, Gaios over the middle. And Case, another penalty flag. 2 of them fly immediately after the tackle.
Last couple of plays here, both sides getting a little chipper.
Personal foul on Case. That will advance the ball 15 more yards.
Had to happen outside the play. Tackle looked pretty clean. Big Debelak on the sideline there, Ron, with his hands crossed in front of him.
Ball's on the Case Western Reserve 15-yard line.
Washington University, the only points they have on the board this afternoon came in the second quarter when Case, with the football in their own end, on a miscommunication shotgun snap from the center to Dan Whalen. Ball went into the end zone, and Whalen just took it and ran out of the end zone and gave WashU the safety on it. That has been their only scoring opportunity this afternoon, but now they certainly have one, and it's a good one inside the Case 10.
Matt Glenn right off the left guard kind of ran away from the run blitz of Case. Jeff Brown, the middle linebacker, coming on a blitz, came in off the right guard side, shot that gap, and Glenn ran to the other side, picked up 8 yards on first down.
Glenn's had a good day, 10 carries, 62 yards, so he is averaging over 6 yards per carry, and he'll get it again. Bounces off a tackle. We've got a penalty flag thrown. That's probably a hold based on where it was thrown.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to get WashU for the hold, trying to stop the run blitz. Not able to do it.
On the season, Case has allowed only 16 points per game defensively. If you look at what they've done based on their schedule, they gave up 17 against Carnegie Mellon, 24 against Chicago. And short of the Worcester game, those were the 2 games where this Case defense has given up anything outside a touchdown or 2. And they have yet to give up a score so far this afternoon.
Well, as a team now, in the first half of football games, they've only given up 65 points in 10 football games in the first half.
Washington University would like to add a touchdown to their total. They've got about 35 seconds left in the third quarter to do it. Sherman at quarterback, ball's tipped and almost picked off by Case. Coming up was Mike Pelyak and almost picking off the tip.
I think that was Rich Doolin that got his hand up. Nope, check that. It was Dale English with his hand up.
I'm not sure that Dale got his hand up or if the ball just hit him in the helmet. He was reaching his hand up, but
like Derek Sharp and Mike Pelyak were both going for the football and kind of fought each other for it.
So it's 3rd and long for Washington University, 3rd and 13. They're going to send about 5 wide receivers out. Sherman throws over the middle, and the ball falls incomplete.
Well, 4th down and down by 19, Ron. I would think that's the situation where you might want to take some points. Still technically a 3-possession football game. 3 points would put you down 16.
Which could be a 2-possession football game.
Exactly. So if you're thinking in how you want to get things done and a chance to put some points on the board, WashU already passed that up one time today, Ron. They were down at the 3-yard line and decided to go for it on 4th down.
Coach Kinbaum has decided to go for it. Case has called a Washington University has called a timeout. They came out, saw what the set was, and decided to call a timeout. So with 24 seconds left to play in this third quarter, there's a timeout on the field. Here's Coach Kinbaum. Larry Kinbaum in his 22nd year at Washington University, 130 wins, 79 losses. It's a shot at that Case defensive huddle with the Village at 115 in the background.
You mentioned Larry Kinbaum. Currently, he's 10th all-time, Ron, in terms of our active coaches in Division III. A couple of big names ahead of him. John Gagliardi at St. John's in Minnesota leads the way. He has 470, but second on that list is Larry Karras at Mount Union. And 6th is Rick Lackner at Carnegie Mellon, who Case saw last weekend. So some long-tenured coaches in the UAA and successful ones at that.
Well, the University Athletic Association seems to lend itself to that. You and I both do basketball games, and boy, on the men and women's side in UAA play, the basketball head coaches have been around for a long time, been successful, stayed at their school, built programs and traditions. It's an outstanding conference. So here we go, 4th and 13. Washington University with the football. Sherman, right sideline. Bobby Bott goes up and tips it away.
Boy, Bott just measured that up, waited for his chance, went up for the football and knocked it away. I don't think you could play that any better as a cornerback. Bott just pace for pace with the wide receiver, then jumped at the last minute and knocked the football away. Didn't try to do too much with it, Ron.
Bott was a pretty good basketball player at Midview High School in Grafton as well, so he showed his leaping ability on that defensive knockdown. So Case and their defense have held, and Dan Whalen and the offense will take over at the Case 17-yard line. 19 seconds left to play, third quarter.
Meyer, the ball carrier.
Greg Meyer carries it up to the 20, and that will wind out the time here on the third quarter. And as we head to the final 15 minutes, I think we can start to think about Sunday, tomorrow, and the Division III National Bracket shakeout, and then think about next week. If Case goes 10-0, chances are pretty good. You think they'll get a home first-round game?
Well, ranked on where they are, based on where they are in the rankings, came into the game ranked 7th by the coaches poll and the D3Football.com poll, which is kind of the source for all information Division III football-wise, had them ranked 9th in the country. So I would assume that a win today would get them into the top 16 and have a home game.
Whalen with a little shovel pass to his teammate Sutka, and DJ picks up a first down for the Case Spartan offense.
A new wrinkle, we haven't seen that play all year. Saw it a couple of times last season. That's the first time this year they've run that inside-out shovel pass.
Sutka went to Marlington High School, another one of the 15 seniors being honored here today. He's from Homeworth, Ohio. Case with one back in the backfield, and that is Derek Bush, and that's who Whalen goes to on a quick pass, and it goes nowhere.
But Bush was really brought down awkwardly after catching that swing pass. A couple of the WashU defenders over there quickly twisted him down, but he seems to be fine getting up.
At the start of the game, we mentioned that Dan Whalen had 9,190 passing yards coming into today's football game. And so far today, he's got 177. So that's going to, you're right. I think they need to go 2 more games after today for Whalen to get a shot at 10,000. Whalen will step up, pressure, going to run it. Nice little move at the 35 and gets himself an extra 4 yards, run out of bounds at the 39-yard line.
Well, against Chicago a couple of weeks ago, Whalen took basically a design quarterback sweep and went 68 yards on a sprint sweep down the sideline, outran the defense. So Whalen's got some speed and doesn't mind carrying the football. I think some of the coaches don't like him to carry it in the open field, but Whalen has no problem running it.
Well, this year he's got 173 yards rushing for his career. If you add the 173, he's got nearly close to 800 yards rushing for his career, along with, as we've pointed out, almost 10,000 yards passing. So Whalen and the Spartans moving the football, 3rd and 3. Whalen with a short pass out to Zach Homick in front of his teammates on the Case bench, and Homick gets the first down.
Yeah, good for 5, and a little short out to Homick in the first down. And Whalen approaching 3,000 yards this season, Ron. We talked about it, the 10,000-yard mark. Whalen needed 190 yards coming into today's game to pass the 3,000 yards for the season. And with that pass, he's at 182 for the day, so he's 8 yards short of 3,000 for the 09 campaign.
Handoff to Corey Checken.
Checking the ball carrier.
I love watching that guy run. He just gets the ball. He's 5'8", and he's low to begin with, and he gets great position.
He wrestled early in his college career and wrestled in high school as well.
Case started this drive at the opening of the 4th quarter, and we're already down to 12.5 minutes. They would do nothing, or like to do nothing more, Ed, than take about 6 or 7 minutes off of this 4th quarter clock and punch one in at the end for a touchdown. Checking again. checking with a couple of blockers, and we're going to get a holding call. This one's coming back. Corey with a nice left arm, stiff arm to free himself, but it's a hold on Case. So that run will come back.
That's a tough call to make because that flag looked like it was really late, Ron. Almost as if checking had already turned the corner and was downfield when the decision was made that there was actual hold on the play. Wipe out the nice gain by checking and take Case back 10 from the spot of the foul. It'll be a 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13 situation for the Spartans.
Case has run for 139 yards today. They've passed for 183. You asked Coach Debelak at halftime, Ed, about the offense and the balance of it. And he said, we have to be balanced against Washington U. This team, maybe more so than anybody that they've played, you just can't step back and try to throw the ball against these guys. And they've certainly been able to do that. And checking has been a big part of that here in the second half as Wayland connects with Zach Homick. Homick inside WashU territory.
Well, that pass is good for 11, and that'll take Wayland over the 3,000-yard mark for the season. Again, plenty of protection for Wayland, then just steps up and rifles one over the middle to Homick.
Zach Homick came into today with 815 yards receiving. He's got 99, so he'll get to 1,000. It may take him till next week. But that's certainly a landmark for him, a wide receiver to go over 1,000 in a football season.
Yeah, 914 yards on the season. Also has 7 catches on the day, which takes him to the 60 reception mark. You talked about the clock, Ron, and look at Wayland just take that play clock down under 10 on every play.
Well, that's the mark of a senior quarterback. You've got a big lead, fourth quarter, you're totally in control, just work that play clock. Don't snap the ball with 15 seconds left on the play clock, work it down to 3 seconds. Those seconds add up.
And Wayland will direct a little traffic in the backfield, and he'll peek downfield to that play clock. He'll have his offensive lineman hold, and he'll wait till that ball gets, or that clock gets under 10 before he really starts to move the team.
You've got a great angle on the play clocks here at Case Field. Both of them are set in their respective end zones, so the quarterback is always staring right into the direction of the play clock. Handoff again for Case as they get yet another first down. Billy Deitman with the carry. Ed, you've mentioned it. Greg Meyer, Corey Checken, Derek Bush, Billy Deitman, those 4. And you could even throw Cameron Boyd into the mix, the sophomore out of Cincinnati, Wyoming High School. Case really has a collection of running backs.
Well, and that's been the kind of the hallmark stamp, if you will, of Greg Debelak's team, is he just likes to have the depth to be able to really just bring wave after wave of players in. So that in the fourth quarter, he's got Bill Deitman, who only had 4 carries in the first half. And again, that defense is going to see fresh legs throughout the 60 minutes of football.
1st and 10. The handoff will go to Greg Meyer this time. And Meyer gets nowhere on the left side.
You talked about some of the wide receivers seeing action. You have the 4 basic, Homick, Cowdrick, Colasar, and nicely Brian Webster coming off the field. He's the 5th wide receiver. Brian Metalsitz is now in at wide receiver. He's a 6th one that they can bring in, has very good hands. So you can go down this list. The depth on the Case squad has really enhanced this team's chances of winning every week.
From the 26, Wayland steps up in the pocket, pressure, eludes it, runs to his right towards his teammate, throws it across the field into the end zone. Oh, and a great defensive play. Tim Cowdrick was there, and he thought he had a touchdown.
Boy, the ball just hung up a little too long. Wayland did a nice job. He escaped the pressure, gets out of the way of his offensive lineman, Zajac, rolls to his right, sees Cowdrick downfield, lobs it towards the end zone, and here comes Buchanan, and came off his receiver from the back of the end zone and knocked the ball away. But Cowdrick thought he had his 9th touchdown of the season.
Bryce Buchanan, number 5, the 6'3" senior out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, with a touchdown-saving pass deflection. All 3 Case touchdowns today have been on the ground. Whalen again, over the middle, ball's tipped up in the air, and it's falls incomplete. WashU had a good shot at collecting that tip pass and coming down with an interception. It would have been the 3rd of the day, but it falls incomplete.
Official timeout for an injury.
Well, it looks like Sam Coffey's come on the field, Ron. Where the ball is at, it's at the 26-yard line. This would be a 43 or 44-yard field goal for Coffey.
Coffey on the season, his long is 37 yards. He's 8 of 13 in field goal attempts, and all of his misses have come between the 30 to 39-yard mark.
There's this tip ball from Whalen again. Low trajectory, the ball gets up in the air. A couple of players run into it, and that's one of the ones that went for the football. Andrew Berryman, the linebacker, is the one being helped off the field.
You can see he's just reaching his team's bench right now, Berryman. So he's okay. He comes off under his own power, and it will be Coffey who will line up for a 43-yard field goal. Ryan Colasar will hold it. DJ Sutka will snap it. It will be the longest of the year for Coffey if he's able to make it. Snaps back, hold is down, the kick is up. And the kick is just right. Boy, it had plenty of leg. It was a beautiful kick by Coffey, but it sailed just a hair to the right, and it is a missed field goal attempt.
Well, points not necessarily put on the board, but for Case, they ate up almost 7 minutes off the clock from the time they got the football to end the 3rd quarter till turning it over with under 9 minutes to play in the football game.
There's Coffey on the sideline, even though a miss with the length of that field goal attempt and knowing that he certainly had the leg plus more, it's got to help his confidence a little bit, I would think. And as they go deeper into the playoffs that will start next week, Coffey will become more and more important. WashU's got a new quarterback. It's Mitchell Bartell. Bartell is a 6'2", 225-pound junior out of Wisconsin. Bartell replaces Steven Sherman, the starting quarterback for WashU today. Sherman came into the game over 1,000 yards passing, and the Case defense held Steve Sherman to just 56 yards passing today.
They tried to run that inside screen there to Matt Mangini. Well, look, there's just too much traffic for the pass to be completed. And Bartell threw the ball low into the backs of his linemen. For Case defensively, Ron, Greg Kingscott is now in it at safety. Zach Haas is out of the football game.
WashU again, great pressure by Case. Pass over the middle, complete out at the 40. Austin Mormon with that reception for Washington University.
WashU now in their hurry-up offense, Ron, but big hill to climb, not only against this Case defense, but against the clock.
Dale English doing a nice job from his defensive end position, putting pressure on that Washington University quarterback.
Well, Case shut out Washington University last year, 17-0 in St. Louis, and really, defensively, they've shut them out again so far today. It was the safety, the only points that WashU has today.
Brandon Rogalski has checked into the game for Washington University. He'll split out wide to the left, bottom of your screen. The Bears will go with a 4-wide receiver set. They'll pass it again, the completion near midfield.
They'll bring up a 3rd down, Ron, but the clock continues to move.
Bartell's pass complete to Cantor.
So the season will come to a close for the Bears of Washington University. They'll, if things stay the same, finish 4-6 as they try to move the ball down the field on Case. But the season will most definitely continue for the third consecutive season here at Case, as the Spartans tomorrow will await the news as to where they are placed in the Division III National Tournament.
A lot of Ohio schools, Ron, in that top 25 have the chance to make the postseason. A couple of teams out of the Ohio Athletic Conference, including Mount Union, obviously at #1, will make the playoffs. But Capital and Ohio Northern also has an opportunity. Thomas More down in the Cincinnati area.
Jim O'Brien out of his halfback spot with the swing pass, gets the ball across midfield, down inside the 40 to the Case 39.
Well, for O'Brien, just kind of set out in the flat, nobody out there for Case, and move the ball upfield. That's his 17th reception run. He goes over 100 yards receiving for the season.
Tipped ball falls incomplete. Won't be long, Ed. We'll be courtside at Horsburgh Gymnasium at the Veal Center as Coach Reimer and Coach McDonald will start the men's and women's basketball program up.
Middle of January that season starts for us. And we have the traditional throwback weekend, Ron, in early February.
Got a chance to talk today to Tiffany Crooks, the women's head soccer coach, on a successful soccer season. We're now going to go back down to the Case sideline, just near that Case bench, and we're going to talk to Dave Stuzinski. Dave played tight end and wide receiver on the Case Western Reserve University football teams from 1982 to 1985. In that time, the Spartans were pretty good. 29-6 were their combined record, including the school's first perfect season in the modern era. That was 1984. The team finished 9-0 that year, and they won the North Coast. Dave, welcome.
It's nice to be here today, Ron. Thanks for having me. Beautiful day today here, huh?
It is absolutely gorgeous. You couldn't have picked a better day to stand on the sideline and watch your alma mater play football, that's for sure.
No, absolutely. This place is a beautiful facility. For them to string together, you know, another undefeated regular season here, it's pretty believable what Coach Deb has really done here over his 6-year period.
Well, Dave, we can ask you this question, and you can speak with experience and give a very thought-out answer. You went 9-0. You went undefeated. You know not only how talented you have to be able to do that, but you also know how many things have to go your way. And to do it not once and not twice, but 3 times now, what is that like?
Well, I'll tell you, it's for me. It's really, you know, it's hard really to believe. I remember our year that we did go undefeated. Coach Chapman used to talk all the time about lots of things have to. He's coached for a long time. Lots of things have to go right. You know, the ball has to bounce your way. And we had a couple close games that year. We had to come from behind in the 4th quarter. So I really understand what this means. You know, to do it 3 times in a row, it's almost unheard of. He's really building something. Coaching staff down here has really built something special.
You were an All-American, Associated Press All-American your junior year, and an Associated Press Pizza Hut All-American your senior season. Case has got an All-American out there on the field, Bobby Bott, who just almost picked off that pass. That would have been perfect timing. Bott caught it, but ran out of bounds as he was catching it. An All-American, that's nothing to sneeze at. Congratulations, first of all, on your All-American status when you were a player. But, you know, if you look at Bobby Bott and what he's done at his time in this program, that's a big deal, isn't it?
Oh, it's a huge deal. This is, like I said, but a lot of these awards really, I think, and thanks, by the way, but a lot of these awards really come when you have team success. And again, it goes back to the coaching staff and getting the right players in here, guys who will stick around for, I think I saw 15 seniors here for 4 years. I mean, when you start building a successful program, some of these honors start coming, and you know, none of them are more important than you know, the team success, and I'm sure all these guys will attest to that.
Dave, we put up a program cover, and we've just put it up again. It's an old program cover from the 1980s that's up on the screen right now.
Okay.
You can't see it, but it's of you.
Okay.
And you've got a football in your hands, and you've got long flowing hair coming out of the back of your helmet.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going back to that hairdo soon. No, just kidding, obviously. Yeah, that's I don't know where I got that from, but that was the style back then in the 80s, I think. It's not like they do in the NFL now, though, with the with the dreads coming out, but it was approaching that, I think.
Derek Sharp just made a nice play in the end zone for Case, a defensive play. He's had an outstanding afternoon, that's for sure. You've spent your entire professional career in finance as a capital markets specialist with multiple firms. Dave, if we could ask you, how did your education here at Case prepare you for your professional career?
Well, a lot of kids nowadays know exactly what they want to do when they come to school, come to college. I was not. I really didn't have a clue what I wanted to do, but I was good in math, so I took up mechanical engineering, and I figured that would be a good background, a good broad base for anything I wanted to do. So I was in engineering for a little bit, but then I had an opportunity to get into the finance area in investment banking and selling stocks and bonds for a couple different regional brokerage firms, and it's just the engineering school here is a great background for just about anything you'd like to do. So I'm a pretty good, I hope that's some advice for kids nowadays who don't know what they want to do. Just get a good solid background in whatever you're studying, and the world. I always tell everyone, Case is like the gift that keeps on giving. Everyone, even today, where'd you go to school? I say Case, and they say, oh, you must be smart. So I'm always very honored to be down here and be a part of Case Western Reserve.
Dave, if you can hold on for one more second.
No problem.
We've got one more thing we want to talk to you about.
Sure.
As we're under 6 minutes now, and as you've been able to see, the Case defense is doing an outstanding job holding Washington University out of the end zone. The Bears have certainly moved the football, but the Spartans' defense has tightened up a little bit. Ron Janssen, Ed Doherty are with you, and Dave, Ed's got a question for you.
Well,
Sure.
The 2009 season for the Case football team, again, going to be a very memorable opportunity to go to the postseason. 2009 for you here at Case Western, also memorable. You were inducted into the Hall of Fame here at Case Western. Talk a little bit about that, the process, and what it means to you to reach that pinnacle and be recognized by the university for your athletic contributions.
Well, it meant a huge amount. It's a huge deal for me. Married now, have a couple of young kids, 11, 10, and 5. Eleanor, Daniel, and Evie, and my wife Barb were able to come down here on that night to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it was really a special night. To be. This is such an unbelievable university and campus. To be a permanent part of it in their Hall of Fame is just. Really, it was just an honor, a very humbling experience. Have all our friends. We saw a lot of old players that came down. A lot of the coaches showed up. It was a special evening, really.
Dave, before we let you go, take a look around. I mean, you're down on the field. The shot that we've got of you is on the sideline with the dorms behind you and this beautiful complex. You played at Finnegan Field.
Sure.
And you look at this complex here and the place that Dan Whalen and the rest of these seniors have spent their entire career playing at. What do you think of the place?
This is, I think, I've been to a few Division III complexes. I can't imagine one being nicer than this. This is a beautiful place, and they're obviously doing it right, but treating it with, undefeated season after undefeated season. But anytime I bring guests down here to show them a game, they can't believe this place exists. It's just a beautiful, beautiful complex. Something we can all be really proud of as alum.
Matt Glenn, number 40, as you see on your screen, just walked into the end zone for the Washington University Bears, and that's the first touchdown of the afternoon for Wash U. Here you get a look at it on the replay.
Well, they spread him out, Ron, and then Glenn just took the inside handoff and leaped his way into the end zone for the first score for Wash U today.
So it is now 21-8 with 5 minutes and 46 seconds left to play. We've got Dave Stuzinski joining us on the sideline as Wash U will go for the 2-point conversion. Bartell's the quarterback. It falls incomplete. Dave, before we let you go, Any wishes you want to send out or thoughts to the from one undefeated veteran to an undefeated Spartan football team that stands now just to your right?
I would just say keep doing what you're doing. This is, you know, how can you get better than perfect, right? 30 in a row, trips to the playoffs every year. Just keep it going, coaches. I mean, they're doing a phenomenal job, and you know, it's just it's a pleasure to be down here and witness it.
Dave Stuzinski, a Hall of Famer here at Case, tight end wide receiver on the football team from 1982 to 1985, and a member of that 9-0 undefeated 1984 team. Dave, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, we've had a nice afternoon, Ed, of a lot of great guests, a lot of good insight into the Case football program and the academic environment here, and it's just it's been a perfect day for a perfect team.
Right. The weather has allowed us to really have a lot of guests on and showcase the university and what's happened not only on the football field but outside of the football field in the classroom. President Snyder joining us and a few other guests. It's been nice to be able to have them on the field and really experience the atmosphere.
So Washington University will set up here obviously for the onside kick. And this needs to travel 10 yards. It does not. Plus, it goes out of bounds. So Case will get it, and they'll get it with great field position. 5 minutes, 46 seconds left to play in this football game. As you can see, the Spartans with a commanding 21-8 lead and on their way to their third consecutive 10-0 season.
Case will take the ball right at the spot where the football went out of bounds. And again, the objective here, Ron, couple of first downs. Take that clock down and really prevent WashU from having any opportunity thinking about a comeback.
Whalen's going to come back out at quarterback. Greg Meyer will be his lone back in the backfield. Case with 3 touchdowns today, all of them on the ground. 2 by Meyer and 1 by Derek Bush. Meyer with a handoff, crosses the 30, pushes his way forward inside the 30 at the 28-yard line. Greg Meyer on the day, approaching 50 yards on the ground. Corey Check in his 67. Case as a team rushing today is at 157 yards rushing as a team.
And for the Spartans, they average just a little less than that on the season, Ron. Rushing-wise, they average 148 yards per game. Passing-wise, though, they've been more balanced today. In the past, they're averaging over 300 yards per game, and today they have just 200 yards passing against this WashU defense.
You can see Wayland and that offensive line just standing, and what they are doing is they're waiting for the play clock to wind down. The clock was at 35, and they're going to take it down to probably 5 seconds before they snap that football. Wayland steps back, looks back over to Coach Devilak. And this is all about taking time off the clock. Case up 21-8, inside 5 minutes to play. Handoff will go to Meyer. Meyer breaks the tackle. Had a seam, thought he may go down that right sideline, but coming up and making a nice stop that time was Bryce Buchanan for Washington University.
He'll be close to a first down. I think he did get it, and yes, he did, Ron. That little extra effort, that cut to the outside, and he breaks this tackle right here. And that little stretch right at the end gets him the first down, and with that, Case will be able to take another 2 minutes off the clock.
In the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you can see 35, Derek Bush. He is checked into the football game. Bush has a touchdown in the game, the 5'9", 180-pound junior out of Pennsylvania. It's his first touchdown of the season, so congratulations to Derek. Timeout for Case.
Timeout. Case Western Reserve.
4:27 left to play in this football game. Case opened the season way back in September 5th, with a 33-21 win over Kenyon.
That game was not as well played as Case would have hoped. That was a game they had 10 opportunities in the red zone. They only scored 6 times, including a couple of field goals.
That followed with a 45-14 win over Rochester, and then a convincing 41-6 win over Oberlin. They traveled to Denison next, beat Denison 38-13. Went down to Worcester on October 10th for a night game, the first night game in the history of Fighting Scott football, in a crazed, exciting atmosphere, and came away with a big victory, 53-32. Then at home, they beat Ohio Wesleyan. Case did 55-7, and that has continued. 63-14 at home against Hiram, and then the last 2 on the road in University Athletic Association play. And Derek Bush is off for a 22-yard touchdown. Bush entered the game with no touchdowns on the season, and he has 2 this afternoon.
Well, and that's the final check mark for Case, as they will run their way to a 10-0 season and a trip to the NCAA Division III football championship.
Coffey will line it up for his 4th point after touchdown of the day.
Coffey's after point is good.
And with 4 minutes and 21 seconds left to play in this football game, Case with a 20-point spread. It's 28-8 here at Case Field. There's a look at the home side. You got a chance to see the stands here at Case Field. A lot of parents are here today for Senior Day. There are students lined up on the outside circle, the fence that lines the running track here at the field. There's a beautiful shot at the dormitory area that we're talking about. It's called the Village at 115. The field is surrounded by 7 residence halls, student dormitories that house 800 undergrads, and even at a time, the president of the university, Barbara Snyder, told us that she lived in these dorms for a while.
And when she first came to campus, she spent some time living here while she was getting settled here in the Cleveland area.
The track that you see here on the lower left-hand corner of your screen, that's called dedicated to Bill Sudik, head coach Bill Sudik, who not only was the track and field and cross-country coach, but also an outstanding basketball coach here at Case. Just a beautiful complex. If you ever get the opportunity, come out and see a football game or a track meet here or a soccer match. You'll love the atmosphere. Beautiful hit.
Sam Coffey, the kicker.
The kickers don't usually get to make hits like that, and Sam is absolutely loving it.
Well, you know, talk about kickers with a big hit.
This is right into the camera, too. Let's see if we get some sound on this one.
I think Coffey came over and just dropped a shoulder. And
so Case is enjoying lots of excitement and success here today, as Washington University, with just over 4 minutes to play, will try to move that football and add to their scoring total. But today has been Case. After a rough first half, a first half that Case led, but nonetheless a first half that even Coach Devilak characterized as he headed to the locker room as not exactly going according to plan. They certainly, Ed, have responded here in the second half.
Yeah, much cleaner, much crisper effort on both sides of the football today in the second half. And they didn't have that big swing like they had in the first half where they looked unorganized and a little out of rhythm for about 15 or 18 minutes. Well, with the win, Ron, the seniors are going to finish up in the regular season at 35-5. But maybe more important, the juniors have yet to lose a regular season football game. And there's some important juniors on this team.
Well, if you look at the defense, Jake May, who's the nose tackle, is a junior. James Wodeka, one of the cornerbacks, is a junior. Lucas Sasala, one of the linebackers, also a junior. Greg Kingscott, a free safety, a junior. Zach Haas, a safety, a junior. Those guys have yet to lose. If you look offensively, The offensive line is potted with 3 of them. Marcus Kluzinski is a junior. Yanasko's a junior. Zajak's a junior. Sean Nicely, a receiver who has been very active this season, also a junior.
And Billy Deitman's also a junior.
And Bush, who scored 2 touchdowns today. Stepping up, throwing to the far sideline right in front of their own bench. Pass is complete, but it was complete out of bounds, so it will be ruled incomplete. The backup quarterback here at Case is a junior, Joey Baum. Joey's seen action in only 6 games this year, a junior out of Walsh Jesuit High School.
The coaching staff has liked the progression that Joey Baum has made. He came in, they have really been able to groom him. He's been able to learn a lot behind Dan Whalen, getting some opportunities. Last year he had a chance to start a couple of games when Whalen sat out with an injury early in the season. So Baum is experienced. It's not as if he hasn't played. And Baum has checked into the football game. Well, Case is going to get whistled there, Ron, for a 5-yard penalty. They had 12 men on the field. So it'll cost him 5 yards to start with.
Illegal substitution, Case Western Reserve. First down.
Joey Baum is in the football game.
The 6'1", 195-pound junior out of Walsh Jesuit High School. Talk about him, and he appears under center. Hands it off to Deitman, and not much there on the left side for Billy Deitman. Baum on the season in 6 games, 14 of 20 passing for 149 yards. No touchdowns and 1 interception. There's a nice look at Joey Baum.
Yeah, 14 of 20, that's a 70% completion rate. A little bit more than Dan Whalen, right?
Whalen's at 69%, so I guess Joey's got that on Dan. So he will run this Case offense for the final 3 minutes of this football game. Baum now in the shotgun. Case with the ball at the Wash U 45-yard line. Deitman will get it again. Nice hole. And Billy's going to pick up 5 yards.
Enough for a first down. Deitman just did a nice job waiting for his blockers to come through, clear away, and ran through the hole following his offensive lineman.
Gene Gross, one of those offensive linemen on the block that time. Gross, a 5'11", 230-pound sophomore out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
WashU is taking the timeout.
In this football game, Case has passed for 200 yards. They've rushed for 185. Here's a look at Coach Larry Kinbaum, the head football coach at Washington University. His club today has rushed for 137 and passed for 131. Larry's season will end 4 wins, 6 losses.
They did play 3 teams now, Ron, ranked in the top 15 in the country.
They played Wabash, lost to them 31-12. They played Wittenberg, lost to them 46-0. And they've played Case and are losing 28-8. Those are the 3 that you were talking about.
And all 3 of those should make the playoffs when they're announced tomorrow.
Joey Baum with the football, and he's going to lose some yards.
Wittenberg and Wabash out of the North Coast Athletic Conference. And Wittenberg, another one of those Ohio schools ranked in the top 25 in the country.
How would you like to be the quarterback that has to replace Dan Whalen?
Not going to be an easy task to do.
But one thing that Coach Debelak has said all season long is this senior class has set the example and turned this football program around in such a way that it's hard to ignore. That obviously the junior class has taken attention to and a hold of. And the freshmen that they have noticed, the recruits that were up here in the press box today from one end to the other with their parents, and that were here 2 weeks ago on our last Sports Time Ohio football broadcast, the recruits have taken notice. the storyline surrounding this win streak in this senior class it just can't be understated.
Well, now you're 31 in a row in the regular season. That's Mount Union-like. And what Mount Union and Larry Karras has been able to do down in Alliance, Ohio, and bring national titles to that school. You know, maybe not a national title here to Case, but kids are going to start picking this university for the overall experience, not just academics, but athletics are going to play a big part in that now in bringing students in. They just got Coach Debelak on the sideline with a Gatorade shower.
The crowd was in on it because they clapped on cue. Well, it's warm enough today.
That's right.
To take a Gatorade shower.
He took one a couple of years ago in a really cold weather when Case had finally knocked off Chicago.
Washington University with a new quarterback in the game. It's Dan Burkett, a freshman out of Neenah, Wisconsin, 6'3", 210 pounds. Ed, you were talking about the streak and about Mount Union-like and national championships and, you know, maybe not a national championship. But one thing I think that Case now has to look forward to or challenge themselves is to roll off a few wins in tournament play. They beat Widener 2 years ago, then lost to Wabash in the second round. Last year, I think, went into the playoffs expecting maybe to get a couple wins and you know, advance, and lost in that heartbreaker to Wabash. So I would think that this senior class and the junior class, with the taste that they've had in their mouth in the past 2 years, would really have an edge about them once it comes to the playoffs.
Well, and you're talking about a team now ranked 7th in the country. This is not a team that's going to tiptoe or backdoor its way into the postseason. They are on the national scene. They are 7th ranked nationally by the coaches, behind teams like Mount Union and Whitewater. Those are the top 2 teams in the country. You're not that far behind in the eyes of other coaches in the country. So it is important that they do make a run in the postseason and not get caught maybe looking past or having that spell like they had in the first half today of 15 minutes where maybe the football game didn't go as well as they had expected. They need to come out and play the 60 minutes in the next couple of football games and, again, make that impression nationally on what this school has become on the football field.
Well, that is no doubt the next step. They have certainly proven their mettle in the regular season with 3 consecutive undefeated regular seasons. Now the next step, as we're winding down the final 20 seconds here at Case Field, is for this football team, program, coaching staff, and players to go into next week and get a win and move into the second round and see what happens there, and continue to build on that tradition that they have certainly started here in the last 4 years at Case. WashU, one more pass over the middle. This one's complete all the way down the field. It'll stop the clock momentarily at 5 seconds as they reset the chains. And the Bears will throw one probably towards the end zone here to finish out this game. They'll spike it first, then they'll set themselves up with a play, and we'll have one more shot at it with 2.3 seconds left on the clock.
Now WashU was out of timeout, so they had to hustle to the line of scrimmage and spike the football. And now either they'll take one shot at the end zone or maybe a little razzle-dazzle and throw the football around kind of backyard style and see if they can punch it in against the Case defense and some of the reserves that are on the field now for the Spartans.
We will go down to the field as soon as this football game is over, and we will talk to either a player or Coach Debelak immediately following this football game, and it'll be fun to get their thoughts on their 3rd consecutive undefeated season. Pass is in the end zone. It's up for grabs. It falls incomplete, and the clock is at 0 here at Case Field. The coaches lead the players out near midfield where both clubs will shake hands, and Case will walk off undefeated for the 3rd consecutive season in a row. 28-8 the final today, Case over Washington University, and that wraps up a perfect 10-0 season.